Under the harsh lights of the gym, a short, compact man with broad shoulders faced giants without flinching. He was called Jack the Giant Killer, but his birth name was Ernest Cutler Price. The world would come to know this boy from Frankfort, Indiana, as Jack Dillon, the Hoosier Bearcat, the untamed lion who never backed down from a challenge. Standing just 5 feet 7.5 inches, he seemed small against the colossi he faced. Yet his courage towered like an invisible wall. Between 1908 and 1923, Dillon stepped into over 250 battles, confronting the era's best: George Chip, Frank Klaus, Mike Gibbons, Billy Misk, Ul McCoy, and the legendary Harry Greb. There was no room for cowardice in his soul. This is the portrait of a fighter who carried not just strength in his hands, but an almost superhuman stubbornness. A man who claimed the world light heavyweight title, lost it to the same rival, yet refused to be forgotten. Frankfort, Indiana, in the early 1890s. A small town filled with the sound of horse-drawn carts, the smell of damp earth, and the simplicity of rural American life. On February 2nd, 1891, Ernest Cutler Price was born. His father, owner of a grocery, died when Ernest was young, leaving the family to face a harsh reality. Growing up without a father shaped him early. Nothing would be given, everything had to be earned. The boy found work at a horse stable, caring for a horse named Sidney Lou Dillon, a name destined to follow him forever. When he tried his first fight, nerves overtook him. Asked for his name, he stammered, and the referee misheard: Jack Dillon. The nickname was born almost by accident, yet carried destiny within it. From a small-town boy emerged the embryo of a warrior who would make history in boxing. Jack Dillon began to build his reputation in 1908, still a teenager, entering the ring with a mix of audacity and fury that quickly drew attention. Short for his category, he needed to prove in every fight that height did not define a man's strength. Fight after fight, he demolished larger rivals, earning the nickname that would stick: Jack the Giant Killer. The pinnacle came on April 14, 1914, in Butte, Montana. Across from him stood battling Levinsky, one of the toughest names of the era. The fight was intense, but Dillon showed aggression, relentless rhythm, and the determination that was his trademark. After 12 rounds, the judges had no doubt Jack Dillon was the new world light heavyweight champion. His triumph was confirmed weeks later in his hometown, Indianapolis, when he defeated Levinsky again before a cheering crowd. This was not just a fighter's victory, it was a man transforming weakness into strength, doubt into respect. Between 1910 and 1918, Dillon became a true itinerant warrior, facing nearly every great of his generation. George Chip, Frank Klaus, Mike Gibbons, Billy Misk, Ul McCoy. No challenge was refused. Dillon entered the ring with the same posture. It did not matter the size of the opponent, only the resilience of the heart. But even giants fall. On October 24, 1916, in Boston, Dillon faced battling Levinsky again. The rematch was brutal. Dillon started strong, but his energy drained as the rounds progressed. Levinsky exploited every opening, punishing Dillon's face, body, and pride. When the final bell rang, the title had slipped from his hands. Still, Dillon did not retreat. He faced the young Harry Greb in 1917 and 1918, confronting the future icon's relentless speed. Yet the defeat showed that the Bearcat was no longer the same. The body that had endured hundreds of battles began to demand its toll. After losing the belt and facing the era's fiercest rivals, Jack Dillon's career approached its end. In 1923, he hung up his gloves. The man who had challenged giants, who had made crowds cheer his courage, now sought a new path outside the ring. Before Prohibition, Dillon tried running a saloon in Indianapolis, but the venture failed. Later, he moved to Florida, living next door to a restaurant he owned. Though far from the spotlight, he remained etched in boxing history, not by the belts he carried, but by his unshakable courage, his willingness to fight any adversary, and the spirit that never bowed. On August 7, 1942, at the age of 51, Jack Dillon passed away at the State Hospital in Chattahoochee after months of illness. The world remembered the Hoosier Bearcat and Jack the Giant Killer as a fighter who, even in defeat, never lost his dignity or inner strength. The sun set over Florida, casting long shadows across the restaurant Jack Dillon called home. In the silence, the rhythm of rounds he had faced so many times seemed to echo: punches, heavy breathing, distant applause of crowds long gone. Dillon was not just a champion or a name in newspapers. He was living proof that courage and determination could overcome physical limitations, age, and circumstance. Even without the title, even after defeat and retirement, his legacy remained intact. Every punch thrown in the ring, every giant felled, Every battle fought against himself shaped boxing history. Jack Dillon, the Hoosier Bearcat, the Jack the Giant Killer, may have vanished from the physical world, but he continues to inspire those who believe in the power of will, persistence against the impossible, and the nobility of fighting to the last round.